Welcome back to the FACEIT Ignite Halo European Open, where before the break we saw RBL take their series against Mesa Gaming, and we're going to be breaking this one down up on the desk with the two Harrys up here. How are you gentlemen doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. You know, it was quite an interesting series on game number 3. It's right to the nail there. Like, you know, could have gone either way. I think the panic button was flipped quite a few times during that last minute, but the first game was kind of the standing point. You know, it was a clean sweep straight away, and it just seemed like Mesa Gaming couldn't find any answers off spawn. And with Nails, it can be quite a tough one, especially if they got the perfect death cycle again and again. And you saw from there, the only time they did have something good going was game 3, and game 2 was a bit of a demoraliser for them since they were so close. But one player in particular in Mesa was Havoc. He did so well, especially on Ampties. I think he went like +8, +9, doing everything he could. And he was one of the two players out of him and Flames where I said, against the top 2 or the top 3 teams here, they really, really need to step things up and really get something going. And I'm proud of Peck. You know, he really did his job, and Guardian Ball, he stepped up as well.
Always difficult to win an Aris flag when, you know, you're only getting 4 kills between your 4 players, every single one with just 1 kill. And on MTS in game 2, really, they had the chance to get back into the series almost immediately. For me, they threw that one away. They had control of the spawn cycles, but MTS is all about how quickly you can break out and put the other team on the back foot. But Guardian Ball is where things really, really got interesting, and being able to speak to Mose in the post-game interview, he just said that there were certain plays that just didn't go their way, and that's how close these European teams really are at this level. I mean, just the very, very last second they win the game is absolutely miraculous.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. Just going back to game 1, I mean, we barely even got back to the green room before that map ended. It was pretty insane. What do you think were the issues there for Mesa in that?
It's always tough if you don't get the right start on Narrows, like Harry said. If you get in a bad spawn cycle or a death cycle, if the enemy team has 2 snipers, as RBL did at the start, they can pick you off cross-map. There's no way for you to fight back. All you can do is de-scope or try and put them off somehow and hope you get away. But you saw there the hand slaps, the galvanization of the team. Mesa, you think it might carry on to this game 4, but unfortunately it did not.
Yeah, it just wasn't the case. You know, in that first game type, when you're on respawn, that's where priority comes into play. Have they gone so far with the flank, but you need to go underneath and maybe try and even go on your pallet to get some shots in? Or do you just let it go and get map control afterwards and focus on the slayers rather than the actual objective? Or are they so close to you that you just go over the top, which you should do as standard, and then take it from there to try and work on a 4v3 situation with the objective guy continuing to play it? But there was just no answers. I feel like just maybe a little bit too inexperienced with that game type. But, you know, they've learned their lesson. They probably realised the mistakes they made, because there wasn't just some minor ones collecting up into a major one. It was just a lot of major faults here. But RBL just made it look so easy.
Yeah, they really did. And we've been listening to some listeners from the players through our Astro listening. And make sure you are signed up for our giveaway. You can win yourself your own Astro headset and your own Astro mix. And we've got 2 sets to give away. So make sure you follow that link down below to be in with a chance of winning. But I mean, you can.
I'll whip my phone out right now and just stick my link in.
Go for it.
I actually need some new Astros.
Wow.
Astro Gaming, if you're
in
listening.
the right place, yeah.
Sell out, Wonder Boy, that's me.
Hashtag Anne.
I just want to go back to talk a bit more about that Guardian Ball, because as a player in that situation where it is so close, surely it can get quite hectic, right? What would you be doing if you were in that situation of it being so close?
It depends. When it's the last 30 seconds, the last thing you want to do is panic. But it depends on the circumstances. You know, there was a lot of times where none of them had 4 up or anything like that. It was always a 2v2. They didn't get the clear call-outs you wanted, because I spoke about call-out levels before where there needs to be control. It doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes left or 30 seconds. You need to keep it calm, passive. But then again, I can understand, you know, with 30 seconds left, things can get a little bit messy. But because it was 2v2, I was getting a bit worried at one point, because I know Havoc at the end had a snipe. He tried to go for no scope to try and clean things up quicker when he should have scoped anyway. But he still managed to hold it, managed to pick him down anyway. But the only difference was the fact that Mesa had the snipe tower control and he has snipe to complement it, which makes matters even worse. And camo by then was already depleted. So the only thing they could do on the RBL side was just try and go for it, which I completely understand and hope for the best. But, you know, they were hoping for a bit of pot luck then towards the end. But the only thing I would have said was that respectful, maybe should have jumped on the green branch rather than actually just jumping straight down. That was probably only little play we made, those last few seconds of collecting the time. Yeah. But they could have won doing that. So, you know, it's one of those things.
It is one of those things. You can't really drill for those kind of situations because they come up so very rarely. Just 1 second between you, and in the end, it's all about who's making those little micro decisions and keeping track of the spawns in your head, and whether or not you can just guess where they're going to be coming from at the end of the game.
Well, exactly. But RBL are through to be competing next against TOX Gaming. We're going to take a look at our upper bracket to fill you guys in on exactly what has been happening today. As you can see, RBL taking that 3-1 win against Mazer Gaming to put them in the winners bracket final against TOX Gaming, which is coming up next. I think that's going to be quite exciting, especially considering you spoke to Mose after that, and he was pretty confident, right? He's like, yeah, we're going to take him down.
Yeah, he said they had the individual talent on that RBL Esports team to go toe-to-toe. When you look at TOX Gaming, they have 2 substitutions, so they might not be on the very top of their game, whereas RBL Esports, they've been scrimming, they've been practicing with this team, so maybe that extra little bit of practice could be the difference maker and essentially a free-for-all of the winners bracket final.
Well, just to point out, you say TOX Gaming might not be on top of that. They've got their 2 subs, they might not have been practicing as much, but they haven't even dropped a map here, which is pretty insane. So maybe we might see somebody take TOX to a 4th map, hopefully.
Well, I'd hope so, because it'll be quite a quick evening otherwise, considering the circumstances. But every single one of those matches you see in that bracket was predictable. We knew exactly what's going to happen, even with the scoreline. Mazer taking a map of RBL, okay, fair enough, but it was way too close to call. Anything could have happened during that situation, but I've already explained why. But it's winners finals, you know, how many times do we have to see these 2 teams match against each other with TOX dominating?
What's great about this is both Mazer Gaming and Spiers Esports losing in those winners semis. Obviously not great for their respective teams, but it does mean that we might potentially get a chance to see that matchup in the lower brackets. So that's one I tipped at the start of today that I wanted to see, and it's sort of stepping up nicely.
Well, I know we've been watching, just to sort of talk about some of the other games that have been going on at the same time. We've been watching, just in that break there, some of the other teams competing. Is there anything you guys wanted to just be able to tell our audience about that?
Yeah, so we've got Stush Gaming versus Team Crumpets. Team Crumpets is gun types makeshift, and we've got Stush Gaming, we saw with Penguin Icon and the boys. So they've been doing really well. You know, they beat Improv in the first loser bracket round 1. They're playing against them. The first game was actually 5-4 in favour of Team Crumpets, just barely. Like, you know, we're talking about minuscule, it is so small. But then again on PTS, that's where things kind of went a bit, you know, more in the favour of Gun Type's team. It just got to a point where it's a little bit too much, and I think they've got a little bit demoralised. It probably will be a 3-0 or 3-1, but we'll see what happens as the course of the day as we keep you updated.
Well, let's take a look at our losers bracket to fill you guys in on exactly what has been happening there. So we're seeing Back to Classic winning against Lucendi, so that's going to be going into that TBD bracket.
That's
and then
a massive shock. Sorry to cut you off, Freya.
No, go ahead.
That for me, Lucendi Gaming, I was expecting so much out of them. I never would have guessed that they wouldn't even take a game against Back to Classic. So I think we're sleeping on Back to Classic a little bit here at FACEIT Ignite. I feel like they're really starting to make a name for themselves.
And it's not only that, because I mentioned it earlier, just as you were saying it, they beat Revive Nation as well, and they've been scrimming a lot, you know, one of the top Scandinavian teams here, and they lost to them as well. So Back to Classic have really made an impact. And I've been talking nothing about them all day and all day yesterday as well. But Lucendi, I did notice in their scrims, yeah, sure, fair enough, they're taking the odd map here and there against some of the top teams, but they've dropped a lot of maps against Revive Nation as well. So I did know there's the inconsistency there, but I never would have thought Back to Classic will be in losers round 3, waiting for the one of the winners teams to drop down.
Well, let's take a look at our prize pool, because we know the top 6 teams who are going to be all duking it out to take a shot at some of that money. First place, $10,000. Pretty easy weekend's work, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of Astro headsets in there.
Second place will be getting that $6,000. Third place, $4,000. Fourth place, $2,500. And fifth and sixth, $1,250, making up that $25,000 prize pool. Yeah, pretty big stacks of cash going in there. For an open tournament as well, we have to remember that teams bought passes to come here. So they are really, we've been getting some of the best teams, some of the best atmosphere. It's been really great to revisit some of the old Halo legends and some new guys coming in here.
Yeah, one of the last Halo 3 events was one that I competed in, and for third place I got 20 quid and a knockoff headset. So just a really proper cheap one that you get down the shops. To be competing for that much money, I mean, 4 figures for down to 6th place, I believe I read just there. It's unreal. It's so good to see the support, you know, all the way down to 6th place here, considering it is a European Open, is absolutely fantastic.
Well, we're going to be moving into our next matchup. It is, of course, RBL versus TOX Gaming. I am incredibly excited to get into this just because of when you spoke to Mose, right? He was so confident about it. I would love to see somebody take a map of TOX, or maybe even take a series, but how likely do you think that is, Harry?
How many times do I have to watch these two teams play against each other and see TOX come out on top? So many times on so many occasions. RBL, okay, fair enough, you know, they're a great team, they're on home soil, slight advantage, not too much. And, you know, Hollis has been fitting in quite well so far, but this is the true testament of how I want to see him play with the other three players, because with the three players of RBL, they've always had the issue where, you know, they're very aggressive players, game sense is absolutely top-notch, and they do everything they can, practice-wise, grinding, and anything they can do down to a T to try and get anything done. But sometimes their fourth is not as aggressive enough or is not as good enough to help him out here. But we know what TOX are like. The only thing I can say is the fact that they've got 2 subs, which helps them on some of their weaker game types, and vice versa on some of the bad game types they have. But looking at the game types now, it's going to be quite difficult because it is still in favour of TOX. But the real question is, does it even matter what game types they are here?
Yeah, looking at those game types, I think you're right. I think it's tough, especially when you look at that game 2 Construct Slayer. I mean, Pit CTF, you have 2 snipers on the map. You look out for Snipe Down and Ace. They're some of the best shots in the game with that weapon, and we seem to speak about it so much whenever we're doing a pre-game analysis about a team that Snipe Down's on, but he really is just that good. He's been doing it for years, and then Construct Slayer has rockets, which are pretty much the defining factor on Construct Slayer, as well as a stray sniper as well, which some of the lesser teams, especially European teams, have been neglecting. Sometimes they just forget about that sniper down low coming up every 2.5 minutes as well. So if Snipe Down's on top of that one on Construct Slayer, that's an easy 2-0 going into Guardian Ball. So it's one of those first 2 game types I think you have to take if you are RBL to stand a chance, but it's a tough draw for them in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just really worrying as well. And with Construct Slayer, whoever gets the bad start and gets put on spawn straight away, have fun, because those counter-attacks aren't easy to do, because, you know, you could do it as fast as you like, it's still super slow, and, you know, everyone's going to avoid the purples. The top teams have gone so good now, they just make the assumption that you're going to go back gold, they're going to make the assumption that you're going sword, or, you know, waiting for the spawns on top gold, or hoping for sword spawns and something like that. You know, they're that good, they're going to predict it even before you even think about it, and it's really worrying. Like, you know, if I saw AmpTS and Construct Slayer, then I would have said with RBL, they might stand a slight chance, because it's a little bit more of a coin flip, but those game types, it does not look good, and I am severely worried that it may be another 3-0, but we'll see.
So 3-0 prediction from you, Harry?
Or 1. Depending on the start of Construct Slayer, we'll see.
What about you, Wonder Boy?
We're on home soil. There's going to be a game taken. I'm saying game 5. I think they can do it. Take it to a game 5, that is.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to win.
So
I think they can take 2 games against
they're
TOX.
going to give them a run for their money.
Exactly. I think the games will be close.
Well, I'm very excited to get into this one. I'm very excited to introduce you to our 2 casters who are going to be showing you through this matchup. Guys, take it away.
So we've got 2 Harrys, one of them selling out Europe completely, and the other one's actually predicting a game number 5. What do you think?
Maybe, I think I'd be more inclined to go with the weirder Harry. You can take that whichever way you want.
Yeah, I can't tell which one that would be.
I think TOX victory is more likely here. I think a 3-2 would be a bit of a push, but you never know. There are some substitutions for this TOX roster, so there is the opportunity to get them when maybe they're not at their strongest. And if anyone's going to do it, respectful Moes and the lads is definitely a possibility.
TOX are playing with a substitution. Snipe Down an Ace. Oh boy, this is, no matter which way you look at it or which way you pencil it out, that roster is still by far the best in this arena. If there was going to be a team, I think this is absolutely fair to say, there's going to be a team that is going to give them a challenge. This is this one. This is the upper bracket winners final. So both these teams yet to face off in the loser side of it. Both lies remain. I think this, you have to be a betting man and say, look, this is TOX's game. They're just a different kettle of fish altogether. The North American players, especially since how long they've been doing this and playing at this kind of level for so many years. You have champions in abundance on the opposing side. You have a 2-time world champion. You have an X Games gold medalist. You have a global champion from Halo 4. Like, don't get me wrong. On this side, we have multiple-time EU champions, and they've been to Worlds. They have placed in the top 8 several times. Unfortunately, Europe, at the last events, as we look across in North America, has been on a decline. We've seen them fall from, I think, top 6, where you was casting at the point, because I wasn't at that event. I believe that was, Europe managed to break top 6 finally and jump in there.
Yep.
But since then, it's slowly been declining. We've seen top 12, even top 16, and things haven't been going too well. Maybe we could talk a bigger factor of the infrastructure of Europe at the moment, whereas this has been the only event. Don't get me wrong, this is a hell of an event. It's lovely inside. It's really nice to see an event on for Europe, and it's good to be here. But still, the infrastructure has dropped off a little bit, and that could be something to do with it. But since we've been gifted this event, there has been something to play for. And you know what, Dan? We're underway, and what better way to get this show on the road? This is an upper bracket final. What better way than the pit?
Pit capture the flag is always my favourite way to kick off any series because it is a great way to warm up. It's a great way to sense out your opponents. There's so much to pit capture the flag, be it pushes, be it spawns, be it power-up control, or be power weapon control. And who else to jump on board with but Snipe Down, who has a sniper rifle when he takes down his opposition sniper, Snipe Jerome, who actually was trying to get aggressive there. And I think that's a good idea. Try and take that sniper off of Snipe Down, because if he has it for too long, and he starts to warm up and he starts to get firing. The sniper's still not been picked up just yet from RBL. As I say that, it's respectful. I think he's just grabbed it. He's tried to shimmy his way over towards Sword, but it looks like rockets are in the hand of TOX as well, so I'm sure they're going to start to get a little bit more aggressive, and you can already see RBL forced back into their own base here, Sims.
Yeah, they've been chomping at the bit to try and work their way out of this one. Snipe Down taken down over by Banana, so at least for now. The eye in the sky, keeping an overwatch of that entire area. The map with the sniper is removed. Snakebite inside flag. Clean them out and continue onward. Sniper Drone very aware that there could be a player lingering around Mauler side, which there is. Ace comes through, takes a body shot. Most comes through with the assist, and that's fine. Get rid of him. Brandon, respectful over on the opposing side, also pushes one back. So Snipe Down not allowed to retrieve the sniper rifle. And for the moment, it's a sign of hope. Europe have forced TOX back, and this is good for them, but you have to keep up the assault. This is going to be a continuous race. Regardless of how good you play now, you have to keep up this level, because this will be at 9,000. You know, you're not going to be able to drop off. There's no breathing room here. You have to play at this level throughout this, not this entire game, but this entire series.
Yeah, you have to keep your head up. If you go a flag down, maybe 2 flags down, then suddenly it's very easy to get down on yourselves and try things that maybe are a little bit silly. That's a great grenade from Snipebound, but he's been taken out. And I've liked what I've seen from the early stages from RBL. Of course, they're going to be thinking about this overshield. It's actually APG who's going to be first on that one, but there were a few grenades coming in. Sometimes you get caught up on that higher side of the pit, and it means you're not going to be able to pick up the overshield. But I tell you what, some decent snipes from RBL in the early stages of this game.
OS in the hands of APG. He's assisting a kill there, so at least the assault for now on Europe is forced back. All calmed down on the Western Front for just a little bit. Snakebite claiming, or reclaiming, should I say, the sniper rifle that it was dropped from earlier on. It's quite a scary thing to think how many players on this side of TOX can snipe.
We're slowing everything down now. Rockets are going to be popping shortly, and there is a chance just to reset and kind of readjust your map position. Try and position yourself in the best place to stop your opponent getting the rockets, or get aggressive as the grenades now start to flow in. And you can see RBL are the ones who are taking the initiative on these rockets, getting real aggressive. Holler's getting a kill, and now this is a big chance to pick up rockets and actually go for a flagpole.
There's a green hole push and long hole as well. RBL have extended over to the opposing enemy side. We need to see what the response is. Goes with rockets, there is a trade-off. And while all this goes down, it looks like calm and cautious as ever. Snakebite clears out the home territory, and Snapdown continues the assault. And for now, while things are just in this stalemate scenario, we're going to jump on in with an Astro listening to the communication of TOX Gaming.
We're trying green rockets. Neil shot.
I killed green. Chat.
Neil shot. Neil.
Yeah, one of them.
We never killed Snapdragon. They have rockets. They're training somewhere.
That's last guy. Can someone? I got sniped. Someone go through.
Going on bridge. I'm going up. They have rockets. I
don't want to push too long. They're
bridge right now.
I'm in sword aside. He's coming up.
Rocks are green shot. I'm looking at Brad. He's not much out. He's going green. Got no more rocks. No rocks for sure. In green. In the pocket.
They're gonna be either second on me. Two. They're Walshy.
Green.
I'm trying to look. Shot their second in there. They're long, I think. They're Walshy. Training Walshy green.
What's other training?
They're green and training.
What's other training to bridge?
They're training side.
He went under bridge one shot.
Trained under bridge. They're training.
At OS one. Down there. Under bridge. They're training.
I don't know. Let's grab it.
Get that over.
Forward shield, yeah.
Alright, let's go green.
They're nading long haul, so.
Yeah, you guys should pick that up.
Got it.
Watch it.
These are green.
Very nice.
You ain't long. Long one hit.
What's that inside green most?
I'm going there green, guys.
He's one hit. He's one hit.
I got him.
I'm on the train. They're long. Second, in long side round. And the Neil's also.
Dude, I think there's two. Might be coming.
In long.
Yeah, we can push up.
Alright, watch out there long. Watch out there long.
Pushing Neil's. Neil's got it.
Where's the other one long?
Neil's long.
He's there long still. He's challenging me. I need help.
I got you.
Got him.
First, Brad.
I'm on there first. I'm on there first also.
Weak place here.
Flag first.
Back up.
Weak. Yeah. Two shot. Corner. Or turn. Walshy. Respect. Three shot.
Cut something.
There's a cut.
You got me.
Flag.
I fucked up on that.
They have a 3 bullet sniper at 5. TJ, be careful.
On their flat still.
They're training as well.
He's green. He's green.
They're long.
Too long. Got him. I got it long. The other guy long. I need a PJ from him.
I needed it to green.
You're dead. Yeah, he's gonna be watching.
I'm gonna go mid.
Cool, calm, collective, and more importantly, informative. Little nuances that you can hear through the communication there. It's even stuff. They have a 3-bullet sniper, to the fact that you can digest key for key, bullet for bullet. The fact of what they're handing over with each individual death is just so crucial. And you kind of touched on it. There's all these little micro moves that we see throughout the iterations of Halo, and in Halo 3 especially. When you're feeding key information back to the team like that, it can be so substantial in the long game.
This could be the first flag capture potentially as well, because it's decent positioning from Snakebite and the rest of TOX to really just trap RBL over on the sniper side here. They're just going to have to leave this flag and try and fight their way out. I don't think there's anyone on any sort of position to stop this one. I was going to credit both teams for how they played in the early stages with stopping their opponent pulling flags. Certainly when TOX saw RBL getting aggressive, they to make sure there wasn't going to be an easy flag pull, and RBL were doing the same thing on the other side. But unfortunately, just when TOX start to get set up, that's when things get difficult, because they are a very methodical side. They know how they want to play a game of Halo, and when they do get into those setups, it's very scary.
During that flag transition, I was kind of wondering why 2 players were pushing onto Snipe Tower and letting the flag run long haul, and it was for the simple fact that they have dual snipers on the opposing side of TOX. They were allowed to kind of drive the game how they wanted. Respectful, it's a bit of an overzealous play. I understand the logic behind that. Want to try and take down the OS guy. That's 3 times back to back to back, on time, on point every second that TOX have been allowed to pick up the OS. So a little bit more of a management side needs to come out here from RBL. Easier said than done when you do have such legendary players, such strong individuals, just laying down hellfire from above. And now you have to deal with snipe down once again with the sniper inside your tower. That's an easy kill for them, but still, to be up there as an enemy, you become a focal point. You have to be a nuisance, and the amount of damage you can put down, we were speaking about how pivotal P3 can be in certain scenarios. Being in the enemy's P tower, when you're taking their sniper rifle, not only just using up their ammunition, but just holding them back, allowing the rest of your team to spawn on the opposing side of the map and then get set up for the next wave of Slayers. It can be really frustrating if you're on the side of RBL.
And you're talking about the overshield as well, and the fact that we haven't seen RBL actually achieve that. Well, they've not been able to dictate the pace of this game. It's been TOX really just running the show, and it means that RBL have had to sacrifice the possibility of even setting up for the overshield just to stay in the game, just to contest the higher side of the map, because the pressure that's been applied from TOX has just been a little bit too much for RBL, but this is a little bit better now with some aggression from Snipe Drone with a sniper rifle. If he can hit some body shots, or even some headshots, of course, then they might find themselves in a good position to potentially pull a flag.
Nice shots on both sides. I was going to say that Snipe Drone has been rather quiet, in which case they have no idea where he is. Does finally give up the ghost, now the information's fed. Pre-nades there, Snipe will follow up, job done. Flag will no longer be able to move. This grenade should seal the deal. It does. Finally goes down. There's any bullets left in the mag that will be handed over to the clip of Snipe down. Got Snipe down, the Snipe Drone. Oh, hollers. Okay, where'd you head at, buddy? Rolls off the back of his shoulders. When you watch Eric Rona sniping, even though, like, oh god, yeah, he's just going to continue on doing what he does. It feels so calm. I don't know how every single bullet just seems to find its target as he misses that one, I say, but it feels really calm when you're watching. It's like not emergency sniping or sweep sniping or just going for that random no-scope or going for that random quick-scope. I don't know how he does it, but he not only does it in this game, he does it in multiple titles and different genres.
He knows his limits, and he is composed. You saw when he was sniping from the pit, he was actually getting shot from elsewhere, but he didn't just duck down immediately. He took a few bullets because he says, I know what I can take. I know I can take a couple of shots. And he kept on scoping, and he was rewarded with a snipe because of it, because of his bravery. He trusted in his teammates, he called out the fact someone was shooting him, and suddenly those shots disappeared. He wasn't getting shot anymore because his teammates were able to apply that pressure in those right areas. So it's about having teammates that can allow you to snipe as well, as the second flag is going to go in here. This is brilliant stuff from TOX Gaming. RBL have done fantastically thus far to keep the game this close, but now TOX are really starting to generate even more and more pressure.
And that came off the back of not only discipline, but survivability from APG to just throw down the flag and then go on the offensive side. Initially putting one down, which was a warning to anyone by Banana. They forces one off. And you saw how fluid and how liquid his movement was to just spin and jump up onto the yellow box, stay alive with rockets, and then continue the assault afterwards. RBL need to be careful they don't get sucked into this trap because APG is up on main stage. He's looking around, he's on the platform, and he's just hunting. Hollow's good kill here, shuts it down, but when you are weak, when you're vulnerable with no shields, and TOX are coming off the spawn, you need to manage this. You need to keep them in check. If you let them run rampage in their own base, it's going to cause all kinds of damage, and everything you backbuilt to get to this point is just thrown to the wind.
TOX are so good at retreating at the right time. As soon as they are a man down or 2 men down, they position themselves in these difficult, sticky areas that makes it so tough for RBL to actually pull a flag, because as soon as they walk around the corner, it's surprise, another member of TOX Gaming just waiting to put a couple of shots into you, and then they hide away again, and then someone else pops out. And RBL have really struggled because of that. And even though they've got an overshield and a sniper rifle here, you don't really want to be challenging Snipe down. You want to be putting this overshield to good use, but I guess that's not really the playstyle of Snipe Drone. He is a player who likes to position himself with the sniper.
That's not good.
But he gets baited in there, and the pincer works out perfectly for TOX.
So when you look at how much damage was done with the OS, and you compare that to how much damage TOX have done with the last 3 of them, it's just completely insignificant. The OS was completely burnt. He took a bullet from Snipe Tower off Snipe down and then decided to challenge APG for some unknown reason. APG hides, baits him into the engagement. Teammate comes through. Snipe Drone's instantly just emulsified from the map. And the OS is null and void for RBL. For time to put it to good use, it was then try and get a flag on the board and get something going. And you can see now, like, many people, you'd think, oh, these American players, they're aggressive, they can get stuck in. But Snipe Down knows when it's time to go. Oh, that's a double. There is a triple lingering on the opposing side just by the backboards. If he wants it, he'll hunt it down. The time will tick by, but certainly. Nice quick scope seals the deal, and again, by just playing passive for all but a moment, they can take control, and now they can dictate the pace of the game once again.
Well, there's no reason for them to play aggressive now. They have a 2-0 lead. There's only a few minutes left in this game. So what TOX have said is, let's sit back. We know RBL are going to be pushing us. We can slay them once. As soon as we get 4 down, then we can push up, we can get aggressive, and we can start to catch them on the spawn trap. They know they're spawning over, and they will be pushing down through the sword tunnels, and
do it.
This could be the chance, but not quite. But it might be enough to distract and allow Ace to run through. There's only 1 player remaining on RBL. This is going to be game.
1 player alive. Oh, a little bit of a fumble. I'd assume that it didn't really happen too much, because I think you've got PG on his left-hand side, just controlling, stopping any advancement from Greenbox. Job done. GG. 3-0. Pit CTF smiles all around. And that's a bloody good game. That is how you play Halo 3. If he'd have got that triple with that quick scope at the end there, that would have been just the icing on the cake. But a win is a win regardless. We'll take a look at the kill feed and we'll see just how bad it was for the side of RBL. If they weren't completely outslayed to the maximum, there might be a little bit of respite to maybe, oh, okay, well. Yeah, it was a bit of a tanking. Hollow's 15 and 24, Neg 9. Mo's 17 and 25. It's 13 18, bit of an outslay, but then again, when you pump in 20 assists and you're picking up flags as well, does it really matter? It's all about the win.
It was a shame, really, for the European boys, because they were keeping it so close right at the beginning of the game, and I was thinking, all right, we have a really hot series on our hands, but then as soon as TOX get into the situation where they're allowed to set up and they're allowed to play the game they want to play, it becomes very difficult. And you know full well in the back of their minds they're going to be thinking now, all right, is this the best that Europe has to offer? Are we going to be able to cruise through this tournament? If we're able to 3-0 this upper bracket final, then we should be on for the #1 spot.
Yeah, and that's no discredit to this tournament in any way, shape or form, but that is the unfortunate overarching problem, is that if this is Europe's best team and if TOX completely steamroll this, it's kind of unfortunately painting a picture of what the grand finals will be looking like. You never know, maybe they completely fumble it. We've seen some weird and wonderful stuff in Halo, but let's be honest here, these North American players are on just a complete and utter different level. Some of these guys were playing on main stages across North America at the top of the top in their prime, when some of these boys may have still been in nappies, to be fair.
Entirely possible. Maybe not quite, but close enough for sure. And the scary thing is, Game 2, I think, was Construct Slayer. And I would have said that I think RBL have a good chance going toe-to-toe with TOX Gaming on quite a few maps. But maps when you have to worry about power-ups and power weapons at the same time, I feel like there's that advantage for TOX. They just seem to do it so much better. They position themselves in these areas that make it so difficult for RBL to even try and dictate the pace of play. And as soon as you take that away from RBL, who want to be an aggressive team, because Moz and Respectful always have been very aggressive players, then it almost takes a little bit of pizzazz out of that side. So if we can see RBL find that aggression and be able to attack TOX Gaming at the core, then maybe there is still an opportunity for them to get something from this series.
Well, that's kind of what I touched on at the start of this one. You have to play at their speed and play at their pace. It's all right saying they do dictate the pace. I'm looking for this double that he picked up earlier. That was just... How you snap to someone's head like that is beyond me.
He was so close to getting the triple as well. He was like desperately searching for it. Oh, that one was close. That one was close.
If he'd have nailed that, that would have been disgusting. But needless to say, that is the win. Good job. A little bit of a disapproved look on the opposing side. And this is where you really need your coach or your IGL, your team captain, to dig deep. Say, look, boys, this is just shake it off. We go again. It's not an issue. Keep focused. Keep your heads up.
There isn't really a hype man on this roster. I've always been a firm believer you need a hype man. Someone who's going to get loud and proud, someone who's going to pick the team up when they're at their lowest. I don't think that exists for these guys. So sometimes, yeah, having a coach. I remember when Havoc was coaching these guys for a little while, he was a good hype man.
Do you know what disappoints me? Is that we know in a personal stance how much of a bit of a lad Snipe Drone is.
Yep.
We know he's loud, we know he's a gobby little bugger, to be fair. He's a funny guy. But it never really transitions into game. He sticks his head down, he gets the job done. He's a damn good player, but his personality never seems to bleed through that. And I think that most certainly would help. Someone who's full of banter, having a laugh, getting loud, getting leery. Oh, God, they're already dead. Stop it. Double no scope, back to back. Snakebite comes in, nail in the coffin, job done. I think that's potentially 4 dead. And now they have to gather their resources, find where they're respawning, get the communication, and just keep on killing. 9-1 is devastating. What a bad start this has been so far. Sniper hasn't gone off the map. I can see the player down below. Respectful does have a hold of it. Snipe down scene is like, you know what? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm going to wait till you go up this lift. As soon as you do, I'm going to backtrack you and take it off you.
How dare you take my sniper rifle? Give that back. I want to have top control yet again. But it's the sniper rifle they need, as well as some top control for RBL. Maybe they could be really patient and wait for Camo to pop a little bit later, but waiting 40 seconds down low, and I know that TOX Gaming will suss that out, and then suddenly they're going to be dropping and they're going to be competing with it. It's a very risky game to play when you're waiting that long for any sort of power-up.
You spoke about a hype man, and we think about, when we look towards TOX's actual roster, it's fairly quiet, to be fair. Some of these ones that are the best in the world, like when you even see winning world championships, there's a smile and a little cheer here and there, but it feels like business as usual, whether they win or lose.
Do you know who the hype man is on that roster, though? The coach, Royal One. The man who stands behind them.
Okay,
he's the one, like, you look at any of the photos, any of the videos from events when they win. I remember actually in London, the last time they came over and they won the event, it was Royal One going nuts behind them. And the other TOX boys just saying, yep, okay, job done, business. I'm happy. As long as there's anyone, even if it's a coach, then I think it's fine just having that one hype man.
Which will probably be when we look towards Clutch, when it was CLG at the World Championships, when Epsilon were doing so well. Yep. Flames a loud player.
Yeah, Flames
so
is
yeah,
good.
I can go with that, provided there is one player across the roster that is, and it is a 5-man roster at the end of the day, giving that level of hype and that energy that needs to be brought forward during the gameplay, then fair play. Gameplay, we'll hop back on board with it. 21-9 is the current scoreline. Things starting to just tumble further and further down the rabbit hole. Unfortunately, Construct TS not faring too well, especially coming off the back of a 3-0 deficit on Pit. Capture the flag, instant beatdowns there. There is a response, at least 1, 2, 3. They're all flooding. They're going up top here. Snipe downs behind them on the street. Cleanup crew is here. Need to finish him off. He has been dropped down low. He is dead. Ace turns around as well. So that's a bit of a good response there. They have top control now. Look for the spawns. Coordinate this push. Snipe down. Has basically dipped down low and come back up. Yes, he's met his maker in the form of Respectful, but certainly an aggressive stance. Takes one, gets the other one damaged, and his teammate's there just to follow up.
It was a desperate push with, I think, 3 or 4 of them going up the P, and this could be a triple, though, for Hollers, which it is. Big triple. That's going to be great for momentum. Only 6 kills behind. Rockets are spawning as well. They're in the hands of Mo, so this is better from RBL, and it was all from that one push up the pink. And it just meant that one player who was waiting there wasn't really ready for everyone to be swarming up. So good stuff from RBL. It's a very risky push, but it seems to have worked out. Now let's see how TOX are going to attempt to break this setup.
These rockets are big, Dan. 4 in the clip, or in the pocket, whichever way you want to say. 2 currently in the chamber, primed and ready to go. You'd expect 4 kills from this. Still on a knife edge. Pushing sword side up the spines. One goes down to the trade-off. Snap down, put back in the respawn screen. For now, oh my god, you don't want to be getting killed from River. Now Mo's has been forced into the engagement. Nothing off the back of those rockets. Is he dead? I didn't quite catch the kill feed. He did go down. So the rockets didn't do anything. They'll still be lingering as well and kicking on the floor. They won't be on the reload, but there'll be two just sat waiting. And they've been found.
And only found by the camo guy as well. It's not too bad as a present when you're wandering around with camouflage. And now Snakebite can creep up behind him. That's going to be a double, and that's going to be top control re-secured again. So that was the opportunity for RBL. When they had rockets, they had top control. Mo's had a lot of responsibility in his hands with the rockets, and if it had worked, the drop, if he had been able to pick up a double, but unfortunately he missed those rockets and wasn't able to do anything with them. And oh my god, do you see anything?
No fear. Chase him down, kill him, boys. Actually, they could have been forced into this engagement. As they go down low, they do trade off a few back and forth. Triples here if he wants it. Job done. Head upstairs, find the fourth if he's still alive. He is, he's waiting, but you know shield. Hollers at least ends his spree for now. The scoreline. 10 kill lead here for TOX. Top control, as you said. Mo's could have done so much with those rockets. He was the man that needed to protect. He needed to stay alive, but instead gets overzealous, gets hyper-aggressive and dips down low, does lose them. And by doing so, basically gave up 3 deaths. The 2 that came off the rockets that were found by Snakebite and the 1 that he gave away himself.
The individual battles, though, have been better from the RBL boys. They've been winning more fights. They've been braver. They've been jumping into engagements that maybe we're used to seeing Europeans run away from. However, Snipe Down now does have a sniper rifle, and we're coming up to that period of the game where
Jesus Christ.
We're gonna see rockets popping, and the camo will be popping as well. And if Snipe Down keeps popping heads, then it's not going to be fun for RBL.
What an angle. What an absolute monstrous angle. We appreciate that he's actually banking grenades off the back wall.
Oh, and it worked as well.
It did so much damage. Go on, nail it. If he'd have nailed that, it'll look good, but he doesn't. It does go down. The idea and the execution was fantastic. Bank a nade off the back wall from down low. Go up and claim your reward. Finds one player, no shield. Now we move over across to APG and Ace. APG finally goes down. Ace also tanked up. Respectful comes through, seals that one. That's a double for him. Trying to stay alive, Snakebite. He's the last man standing as all rest of his comrades do go down. Hollers, fresh rockets. What can you boys do with this one? Don't fluff it. He at least gets the trade-off, but they do lose them, and they lose the match as well. That will be 2-0, 50-41. Not a complete and utter beating. Only a 9-kill difference, but still going 2-0 down in the series. It's never a good time.
And that match was lost when RBL had top control and they had the rockets. I mean, you could argue the match was lost right at the start of the game when they went 10 kills down from the get-go. But they had a chance to get back into it when Mo's had those rockets, when they had the domination of the map. But because the camo was spawning, they almost got a little bit antsy and they were like, oh, we need to drop. We need to stop them from picking up the camo. But arguably they didn't. They just needed to keep their eyes peeled, keep an eye on where people were pushing, use sounds to your best effect as well.
Mike. What is that ratio, buddy? 5 and 19. Excuse me, 5 and 14. Math is well and truly off. Not the best of series in a Slayer. Regardless, Mo's doing what he does best. Getting involved. It's a good positive ratio from him. Hollers goes neutral. On the opposing side, nobody actually going negative whatsoever. 4 9s across the board towards Ace. Yeah, even the assists were on the higher end, but you'd expect that with the upper echelon of this potential roster.
They're just better at setting up. They're better at breaking setups. They're better at positioning themselves. They're better at angling themselves, with whether it be with sniper rifles or whether it be with rocket launchers. They're just that one step ahead of the RBL boys, unfortunately, for them.
And I think that they need to kind of figure off something like that. And that's how you need to figure out. So because when you look at what Mo's did, and I know there's a million and one things, I don't want to harp on one single problem. But for instance, he had those fresh rockets, he had 2 of them, and he was the one that could make something happen. When he jumps out like that and he misses both of those rockets, that's an instant failure because you've given it completely away. But then he dies, so that's 1 point going the way of TOX. Then you leave 2 in the chamber, you're allowing Snakebite to jump up. So by him dying, essentially gives A, TOX 3 kills, and B, they lose all control up top. When that was probably the closest point they were, because they'd just done 3 down and 4 down back to back. So that was the closest point in the game. Either way, we do press on. This will be the final match, potentially, unless RBL can dig deep and pull something out of the bag.
It comes down to risk and reward, though, and this was a funny moment. Hollers was probably like squinting his eye, saying, "Is there a camo guy there?" It comes down to risk and reward. We saw the big push up one of the purples from the RBL guys, and it worked. It paid off. It could have not paid off, and then they would have been down 15, 16 kills. So then Mose was probably thinking with his rockets, if I pick up a double kill here, we could actually win the game. Maybe he thought if he stands off and if he waits and if they're too patient, someone might get assassinated, they might lose control anyway, and then they're not actually attempting to win the game, they're just waiting to lose.
We appreciate someone's actually wearing status quo pants in the background as well. I've just seen the SQ logo on someone's joggers. They must be some OG clothing right there.
Did you just call them pants? Do you mean trousers?
Joggers.
You said pants.
Pants, joggers.
Right.
Is that a northern thing?
No, that's an American thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, I'm fine with that.
Well, it's an American game, so I'm right, you're wrong.
Wow.
Anyway. Odd ball. And that's an odd shot as well. Creeps round S2, and it's the same job done. 2 down for now. Snipe drone. Where they're going to set up with this one, where they're going to go. They have control for now. It will be fragile. I like the area where they're watching. Prowling and patrolling over at blue. Pre-nades are there if they want to walk out of blue and accidentally stand on, which they do. A should be tanked up here. Are expecting a response from green. That's a nice shot. Ace goes for the follow-up. It doesn't work. That's beautiful. Crack on Hollers. Triples up there if he wants it, but there is support. They can now get the ball and go again. So that's a really good wave of Slayers. They can reset up down.
It's a really good start from RBL, and I mean, they have to come back into this game if they want any chance in the series. And look at the patience as well from Hollers. Again, knowing his limits, knowing he can take a few shots there. It's risky. He was able to get the body. Grenades come through, though, but a decent chunk of time in the early stages. We saw RBL already on Guardian Ball today, and I think that if they can keep just TOX at bay and they don't allow TOX to be able to get set up, then there's a chance of keeping this game scrappy and a chance of taking a map here.
From 0 to 0, one of the quickest quick scopes I've ever seen. They decide to jump off the map, and that's fine, because the idea is you don't give them the sniper. You break that setup, you disallow that power weapon. I'm fine with it. 2 for 1 here. Ace gets the back end of what's going on with that one on the engagement. Snipe tower still under control here from the side of RBL, but Ace wants something else to do with it. Baits them into the engagement. I like that. Rather than jump up, drops down instead. Looks like Brandon, respectful, was going for the play onto him and knew where we were going to go, but instead decided to, you know what, we'll just juke it out and drop. Ball doesn't go off, it stays top mid. Makes it more difficult for people to grab.
This is when it gets scary, though. All the RBL esports players are just stuck in blue and top gold, so they now need to try and coordinate some sort of push here. They have got a camouflage. I think I just saw Camo pushing across top mid, maybe drop to bottom mid, so this might be an opportunity for them. Yeah, there's that camouflage top mid. It's all on Mose, but they spotted him out and he gets a trade. That's a big, big trade, but it is going to allow a little bit of a push from RBL. But look at the aggressive stance from TOX. They're just holding top mid, and you cannot be soaring across the man cannon when there's someone stood top mid.
Yeah, that's the problem. Snakebite's aggressive stance, you just saw the shimmer of the camera in the distance, but Snakebite's aggressive stance has caused them so many problems. The man cannon, they sent 3 players, 2 and then 1, so it was kind of a broken push to begin with anyway. But when he's top mid, just laying down so much cover fire, it allowed us to pick up the kills. So an unchecked player being allowed to be rather brazen and show his chest in top mid has cost them that push, but somehow, scrappy, messy, they have broken it. They have taken down TOX and they're back on elbow.
Even just the camo push across top mid from Mose was enough to get a couple of players out of position.
Check gold.
To allow the man cannon and to allow a couple of bottom mid pushes as well. Snipe drone with the sniper rifle in hand does always put fear into enemies' eyes, but that's what's good about TOX, is they know how to bait and switch. They know when to send players for the flank. And we know how effective the Mauler can be from bottom middle as well.
I'm intrigued to see where Snakebite actually came from and what his avenue of approach was. Whether he was allowed to just run bottom mid and just completely tank it from bottom gold all the way down, in which case that snipe drone's failing by letting him run across the entire map, basically, or if he somehow managed to do the drop-down jump. 2
players basically showed their face top gold to almost bait and encourage Snipe Drone to sit S2 rather than sit S1. And I think that was when Snakebite said, all right, I'm going to take this opportunity, I'm going to push through bottom middle. Like and he just absolutely pegged it one and was able to pick up the Mauler and then sneak behind as well. So good stuff from TOX, good distraction techniques. And now, Snakebite's on a tear.
And he will continue through. Check down elbow, set up a green for now, just keep on going with ball time. They might actually rotate this if they put them on the respawn on the opposing side. Ace has picked up the camo, so they can just chill here for now. If he wins this gun battle, that's a nice little jump. One-on-one engagement will ensure. I'll respawn over at blue for now. Respectful gets a chest full. APG easy cleanup. Where's the ball though? Where's it sitting currently? Is it right next to him? Yes, it is. On elbow. They throw it off, they reset this, and they reposition.
And for the first time, TOX gained the lead as well. I mean, RBL had done so well to gain that early lead, but it's not going to be enough now because TOX are starting to get set up and they're starting to get in better situations. And APG was being a real nuisance behind RBL as well. It's so tough when your opponents are set up at Snipe Tower and you're trying to push out from blue and you're trying to determine and communicate where should we push, should we send someone man cannon, and you've got someone just peppering you in the back, and that's exactly what we saw from APG.
Well, they were in the lead at the very start. They need to dig deep and see how they get out of this one. Let's dive on in with an Astro listening with RBL Esports.
I got him.
I elbow.
I'm gonna lift behind him. I'm gonna lift behind him.
Play these guys, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna lift behind him right now.
Going green.
Let's do sniping snake bite. Let's do sniping
Green.
Let's do sniping snake bite with baller as well.
Got Mauler snipe, S1. Got Mauler snipe.
Let's do one bottom middle. Behind you, Mike, behind you.
No, that's one.
I'll help you, Mike. Where's he going?
And this one sniping.
One shot's still in green.
Look for engagement. Look for this engagement.
One shot's still in green, APG, boys.
I have a snipe. Where's this guy gone?
I don't know.
Shoot it. Gauge him as well.
I'm gonna go for this ball. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Just so bad,
Nice,
man.
Jake. Nice.
Might try.
Maybe bottom mid, Mike.
The window one guy. No goal. The window one guy. No goal. Snipe down. He's going.
Shall I play it? Shall I play it? Yeah, I'm dead.
Nice.
Just play it.
Top mid too.
Man, you gotta stay alive. You can.
Bomb middle, man. Bomb green.
Play.
Green. I got green.
Weapons down bottom mid.
Camo.
They're going for weapons. We can push up now. He's going for weapons. Let's go.
This guy's one shot, I think.
Nading him. Yeah, he's got it. No, he's not one shot. He's one shot now, maybe.
Gauge him, one shot, snipe down.
I'm helping you, Brand. I'll get him.
Happiness too as well.
They have camo snake bite.
He's one shot at camo spawn. He's one shot at camo spawn on the left. One shot at camo spawn.
I'll get him.
S too weak. Ace.
I'm lifting. And the guy green, can you fight green guy? He lifted camo. Weak. And green spawn.
One shot camo.
They spawn green, boys. They spawn green.
Stay alive, boys. Two bottom green weak. Nice kill. Two bottom green weak. Snipe down him. Last two.
Push up on green. 2-1 to green.
One with bottom mid.
Taking this to snipe.
I bet from green again.
I think there's one in goal. Goal, Jake.
Good communication, good teamwork. Certainly not down, but not out down.
A couple of mixed communications, though. I mean, you heard Respectful saying they're pushing for our weapons. We need to go now. But then there's the counter argument of camo's coming up, and it meant that they actually split two decisions. Two people were pushing top mid, a couple of people were looking at camo, and it meant they just had really a fluffed push. And it allowed the chance for TOX to just continue their setup over at Snipe Tower. We just need a little bit more of a firm decision in those situations, a bigger in-game leader.
Kind of bigger picture of that one is that Snakebank's then allowed to pick it up, so they lose it. They lose what they were trying to set up for, so the actual map control while they were getting the weapons. And then he's a focal point. So they all look towards Snakebite. They committed so many resources to taking him down that essentially they were battered. They didn't really lose much time because TOX Gaming went a little bit passive, or at least went reserved and didn't go brazen just running for the ball. They knew there was deficits on both sides of this one. But it was a bigger picture in the fact that Snakebite would basically could kind of just control their side on gold and be a nuisance. So, yeah, bit of a... I have to agree with you, the communication is good, but certainly a split decision on that one. Needs to be tightened up, especially when you've got Eric Rona with a sniper rifle. That's the double. Tanks him in the face, ball has been delivered, and the elbow set up to snipe 2. It's locked down and ready to go once again.
And we saw how close the game earlier was when RBL went up against Mesa in a very tight oddball Guardian game that ended up just 1 point different in the final second as well. And I'd say, well, they're keeping it relatively close against TOX, and if you can stay within 30, 40 points going into the final, I don't know, minute or so, there's always that opportunity of just getting a big chunk of time and catching your opponents on spawn. So as long as they can stay close, there is always a chance, and a camouflage here for Hollers too means that he now has an opportunity to really throw a spanner into the works of how TOX want to push, but he's been spotted out. RBL trying to set up at blue, and when you do get the setup at blue, you are going to get a decent amount of time, but you have to be careful, because if you try and set up at blue and fail, it then gives you opportunity to your opponent to set up at blue.
There's multiple entry points into blue, and I think that's the bigger issue with it. You can either do the jump, you can flank underneath. Yes, you are completely defended from any sniper rifle attack, for example. But the amount of entry points you'll see from gold, dip down low, keep yourself hidden, it's quite hard to maintain and manage. The positive side effect is that Moz might be able to get behind all of these players.
I mean, it's a really nice setup. It's a shame that Moz got a little bit aggressive there. I think he maybe got too excited for the fact that he was kind of amongst the TOX boys, because they had the perfect setup. They had 3 players over in the blue area, they had him at green for the crossfire, and they've been able to pick up a massive amount of time to actually take the lead once again. They play the ball as soon as they sense any form of danger, but now this is always the problem. If you do lose the ball at blue and your opponent has pushed all the way over to blue, you give them the opportunity now to set up at blue, and they can really finish this game. Could TOX Gaming if they set up properly, but a nice push from Snipe Drone.
You tend to always get about 20 seconds just because it's an unorthodox place and quite a large area that you can dip down low and just be, you know, either jump off map or re-rotate across the snipe area. So like you said, they do initially get the good points and they do get a foothold back in this game. Oh, nope. All right, it worked. We got there in the end. It's fine. This is fine. Ball pulled back. It's either on elbow or green. It's actually going to go through green to elbow. I'll sit there for now. Moses tanked up, but PJ unfortunately will fall. So 2 players, 1 shot each there. This should be APG's call. Either just pre-nade the living hell out of blue door and prepare for the assault. Oh, he just saw the camo, the shimmer. It's top mid, he tanks him. Eagle eyes Eric Rona every single time. Tanked up once again. It should be an easy cleanup. Should somebody over by green, but he gets stuck. Removes 1 player from snipe side. That's okay, but there's still 2 here to deal with.
Some good pushes though coming from RBL, considering you are going up against probably the best team at this tournament. They're doing very well to utilize that camouflage to actually generate some pushes across top middle and stop any big generation of time from TOX Gaming as well, and that's why we see them within 20 seconds of this game. 3 minutes and 25 remaining, so really good opportunity for RBL to take a map here. They just need to try and get that 1 more setup and stop TOX Gaming from taking any more time on this ball.
Still 3 minutes and 10 on the clock. Still plenty of time to play with. But the further and further TOX extend their lead, the harder it becomes for RBL. You take time away from the clock and you add it basically onto their points. The gap just keeps digging deeper and deeper. Nice kill from Respectful. That's 3 in a row for him. The last 2 will be on respawn, so that's fine. 3 down for all but a second, but it allows Moz to grab the ball, reposition. 3 nades are there. Looking for the insta-splode. Snakeback comes down, but 2 of them, look at that, just like a pack of wolves down. Back to back, they assault the ball, and they take it back to their own side.
Yeah, and Moz, rather than just assuming danger and assuming he was going to die and play the ball, instead he just tried to throw a couple of nades, and he was greeted by 2 TOX members from bottom middle, and now that's allowed another 20 seconds on the scoreboard, and that's not good news when there's only 2 minutes left. So I could argue that maybe we should have seen a play ball there, but there was still a lack of control on the map for RBL anyway, so a play ball might have just ended up with TOX doing exactly the same thing. In
matchmaking, that would have worked. A normal scenario where you put down grenades and just expect people to come bottom mid, yes, normally that would be fine, but when someone's just diving from S2 down there and has a buddy to him, hyper-aggressive, literally light speed push, as soon as you get that ball, you have no time to breathe, let alone reposition or throw a ball off. You have to play at a different speed. So the idea was good, but unfortunately TOX just said, no. You are not allowed to set up there, my little friend. We are, but you are not.
Snipe Down's been able to pull the ball green again, and RBL are all spawning in blue, and this could be their last chance of a push, but Hollers is taken out, and if they can't win this encounter, it's probably going to be game, and Snakebite using the sniper rifle to full effect as well here. Unfortunately misses that one, but 43 seconds. Only 80 seconds left as a possibility, so RBL need at least over half of the time left in the game.
Yeah, if they want to win this and they want to stay in the upper bracket, they have to go now. But the problem is, TOX Gaming will have this dead to rights. They know exactly what that time has done that they've just picked up. That's a big chunk of change to hold. They all have to flood and they can go on the assault. And basically just sit back for a second, play passive, and slay out.
Okay.
It's RBL that have to do all the work here. Ironically, they're actually doing it.
It's tough though now. Respectful's gone down top middle. It means that there's several avenues TOX can push. They went bottom mid, they pushed to green, and that's the ball down again. But RBL desperately going to be trying to dive on this ball to pick up the ball time because they need it. However, with that being taken now by TOX, I think have picked it up. That's going to be game, set, and match, unfortunately.
Rather unfortunate for RBL. We were hoping that we might see a game or two taking away potential game 5. It would have been lovely to witness for the European players and the European scene. But North America, once again, is just a complete and utter powerhouse. It's a different ball game altogether. No pun intended at all. And no disrespect for them, they're still good within their own rights. But we are in a different echelon of Halo Esports here. Fist bumps all around for the losing side. RBL will enter the elimination bracket as they go down 3-0 versus TOX Gaming. Congratulations to them. They advance to the grand finals.
And of course, they still have to win those grand finals. There's still the possibility that maybe a European team can fight back and reach those grand finals, and it would be a best of 7 rather than a best of 5. So there's always that possibility of playing more maps might help. But from what we've seen from TOX, they look so good even with the substitutes.
Hell, there's even a chance it could be a best of 14.
That's
For
true.
all we know, we've seen them multiple times in Halo 5 at the grand finals. It'd be like, okay, well, this is happening. Actually, it really is happening. Final look at the stats from the previous game. 19 and 27. Hollows this time having a bit of a difficult scenario. 19 assists, not too bad, but not too good either. 3-0 will be the final unconfirmed series game. And that's going to be GG.
I'd say that's a really respectable game, though, from the European guys, because it's really tough going up against some of the best players in the world, especially in a map like Guardian Ball. Yes, okay, if you were playing against the full TOX roster, they're probably going to be even better on a map that takes so much construction and so many setups. But regardless, I think they put up a good fight that will give them good momentum and belief going into the lower bracket, where they're now going to have to topple some of the other European giants. And let's see whether they can get another stab at them, potentially with a rematch later. But they're going to have to beat the likes of Maze or the likes of Aspire again if they want to get there.
I don't think the scorelines tell too much of a story. You know, you just touched on it a little bit there, Dan. It wasn't completely roll over and show the belly. They give a good fight. Whether or not some of the other European teams that are here, hell, Jimbo's team, for example, can do any better or fare any better than that's a completely different question.
They lost 3-0 earlier in the bracket as well to TOX, did Aspire, so that's 2 of our big European teams that have struggled against TOX. The only team that hasn't played them, I think, is Mesa. But Mesa may not even get the chance to face them unless they get, of course, to the grand finals as well.
So I think regardless of this, and I know I say grand finals might be a bit of a whitewash, but I think from a loser bracket point of view, loser finals or elimination finals,
that was about to be interesting.
We've got some really solid European teams.
We do, and of course Tea and Crumpets, though, is still in there, a North American side that might throw a spanner in the works. I thought that I was interested to see how Tea and Crumpets going to do in this lower bracket, nice. And we'll get confirmation, of course, later from the desk to see whether they are still going strong.
There's a bit of a disparity here, isn't there, from like TOX and the grand finals, and then everything else below it is actually kind of uneven grounds. Getting to the grand finals now for all these teams. Now we've got one grand finalist sat up there waiting. The work really has to start below that. We have some very sick games coming up. How many we get on stream is a completely different question. But now the road to the elimination finals, I think that's going to be where you're going to see your best of 5s go all the way.
It's often been that way with Halo, though. We almost end up with tiers where we start on day 1, where we get all the 3-0s of the group stage and all the top teams beating the lower teams, but then we get into the day 2, where the lower teams 3-0 other lower teams, and there's already that tier, but then they face the tier above them and they get 3-0'd, and then finally we get into the 3-1s and maybe the 3-2s, and who knows, maybe we'll see a game 5 in this tournament, because I don't think we've seen one, at least not on stream anyway. But it was a really good effort from RBL, and I think that they should keep their heads held high, and hopefully they'll get another stab at TOX a little bit later on if they can play that way in the lower bracket.
I think we should make a petition to FACEIT to make the elimination finals best of 7.
All right, I'll just can I borrow that pen?
There you go.
Thank you. I'll start writing it now.
Start writing it?
Yep.
Make sure you sign it as well.
Please, pretty please, can we have best of 7?
What's that?
Thanks.
Is that writing?
Yeah.
It literally looks like a spider jumped in some ink and walked
This
across
is called
a page.
acting, and I was pretending that I was writing, and then you go and ruin everything. Can tell you didn't go to drama school like some of us.
I got a job.
Oh, well, yeah, so did I. I'm here, right next to you.
In the mines with the rest of the Northerners. All right, that's enough from us over at the desk. I'm going to throw it down to Harry, who I believe has a win of you with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Global Champion, Ace.
Sims, thank you so much. I'm here with the winner, Ace, standing in for TOX Gaming for this event. Congratulations on the win. Was that series a little bit more difficult than maybe you expected?
No, I know they're a great team, so it was pretty much, it kind of went how I expected. You know, my team, I'm really confident in us. I think out of the current competing Halo pros, we have the most like competitive Halo 3 LAN experience, like dating back all the way to 2008. We all played competitively for so long, so we really all know what we're doing, and yeah, we feel really good.
And that leads me in perfectly to my next question, actually. How are you fitting in on TOX? Do you feel like you have to change your play style or change your role at all to fit in with the rest of the squad?
I think I found myself on this squad doing kind of more of a fill-in role rather than the kind of a more of a Slayer role on other teams I play on. But you know, I just found myself just doing what needs to be done in most cases. And a lot of times on this team, that's like running objective and just holding the ball, or you know, just being that front man.
Lastly, do you think that's the tournament in the bag now? You're in the grand finals, waiting for the winners. The winners of the elimination bracket final. You've beaten the so-called best European team. Do you think that's it? Do you think you've pretty much won the tournament now?
I mean, I don't really think like that. I still, you know, we still got to play our game and beat them if they come back. I expect them to be back in the finals, and yeah, we just got to play our game, and hopefully we come out with the win.
Awesome, Ace. Thank you so much. Richard Sims and Dan Gaskin, back to you.